Hello, listeners. This is Casey Kasem, and welcome back to the show. I've been tasked with informing you that these three dickbags had some technical difficulty with this episode. In this case, the gain was way too high, which is a fancy way of saying that their stupid voices sound like they're exploding all over your ears. Unfortunately for you listeners, their ridiculous show is still completely understandable. You have my condolences. Now on with the show. I fucking hate that.
God, yeah, it's so long. It is so long.
I know it is. I'm sorry, let me put it back in my pants. Gotta get back on that horse.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast, your weekly podcast that delivers a minute-by-minute breakdown of the 1986 Transformers movie. This is episode 38, which means we are covering the 38th minute, 3701 to the 38-minute mark. I am your host, Aaron, and joining me are not one, but two princes who kneel before you. That's what I said now. Yes, princes who adore you. Fellas, just go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I am Ryan, and I remember feeling very cool whenever I was introduced to the Spin Doctors, because it was like, that was one of those bands that nobody else was aware of, and I think Matt, introduced me to him, and it was like, I didn't even care about music really, but I always liked them, and that was my kind of like, for a minute, claim to fame of, oh, I knew a cool band that no one else is aware of, and will become obsolete very soon.
You did that with Green Day as well.
Did I?
They didn't become obsolete, but you're the first person I knew that liked Green Day.
I used to be pretty cool.
Yep. Hi, Caleb.
Hi.
I was desperately trying to think of another line from that song to introduce myself, and I went blank.
That's okay. We don't have to quote every lyric of the song unless you'd like to. We pull up the lyrics genius on it.
Yeah. Let's just do that. Let's break that song. Break that song down.
So I've got a shout out, and so here's the deal. We discovered we don't have line of sight to iTunes reviews outside of the United States. Because of the way the iTunes store is set up, we could have hundreds, nay thousands of reviews from all over the world, and we can't see them.
We could have.
iTunes, how are we supposed to soak in the adoration of our international listeners? So thank the old gods and the new for Robinus Prime at Twitter, who accidentally sort of let us know by letting us know, hey, I gave a little comment. Mm-hmm. And that comment is, we were able to find some back channels to see what our, well, it's very laborious back channels, but we focused on where he is from, Great Britain. And his comment is that these custards are still going strong. So, and then he goes on to say, so I know you said you don't care what's written as long as it's 5 stars, but I wanted you to know that I'm enjoying the journey. Also, way back you discussed other tape cassette names, and I wondered if you knew Scorpionator actually got made as a tape. I picked it up at TF Nation in 2016. Good job, gents. By the way, the After Hours part is creepy as fuck, but I kind of like it.
Everybody kind of likes it.
I don't.
First of all, thank you, Robinus Prime. Second, I don't know what you mean by custards. I searched custards and UK slang, and I got nothing helpful. It could be a Cockney rhyming, I found a Cockney rhyming dictionary, which told me that it could refer to a television. Another random website said it could mean semen. Are you calling us semen? I'm okay with that if that means really cool guys.
Yeah, whatever.
Or cum.
I would love.
Yeah, whatever.
So I'd love an explanation on that. Also, may we see a picture of this Scorpionator you speak of?
If you still have it.
If you would provide a photo, that would be great content that we could steal from you, claim as our own.
Mm-hmm.
And the other final thing here is you posted way back in September. So, again, apologies for the delay in acknowledgement. As stated before, iTunes is not making it easy for us when it comes to international
They make everything else so easy.
So, throwing them right under the bus. What have we done and what have they done?
Exactly.
So that brings me to a final point here. It's listener appreciation season. So it's a little quid pro quo for those who rate us on iTunes, 5 stars hopefully, and comment. And because of this little international snafu, and because we don't want to leave previous raters, commenters out of the mix, I think we should offer up every listener that's ever commented.
I agree.
We can go back in time.
Yeah, we can do that.
I agree.
We can do that.
And it won't be that much effort on our part.
I feel like you just made an effort on my part.
Well, no, we can talk offline
about it?
and get
Okay.
some ideas.
But
Hey, we'll take this offline.
I think what he's saying is, we don't have a whole lot of people we have to
You're right. It's like, yeah, exactly.
So we're not going to tell you yet what this gift is that we would like to give to you guys, but let's just say there's an element of one-of-a-kindness to it. And here's how it's going to work. You go to iTunes, you give us 5 of those beautiful luminous space orbs, leave a comment, and then let us know about it. Email us at autopoddecast@gmail.com or DM us on Twitter. Hook us up with your address. And again, past commenters, please send us your info as well. If you are a listener from outside the U.S., you absolutely must let us know because, like we said, we have no way of getting updates on these comments. So we definitely want to shout you out on this program as well. So I hate to ask it, but a little extra effort, we'd love to see a screenshot of the review as well so that we can read it online, right? So not because we don't trust you or believe that you actually
We just want to see what the hubbub's about.
we are a very trusting
Just
trio.
a unique gift. It's just like we find a rock outside.
That's right. So thank you again, Robinus Prime. You maybe expect a little something in the mail
Yes.
before too long at our
Thank you.
discretion.
And this it goes through Christmas.
And thank you for appreciating us from across the pond. We know we do have some listeners over there in the aisles, and we want you guys to keep it up, and please.
Do they call them the Isles?
I call them the Isles.
What about the Bahamas?
Those are also islands.
All right.
So
Maybe we should start the show.
last episode, Spike had to put a quarter in the old swear jar. And yet another escape pod meets its end at the mouth of Unicron. Galvatron gets reminded who's boss, and he and his crew finally head to Earth.
That's right.
Or at least he says to Earth. So that where we kick off this minute is, again, at this 37:01 minute mark with a badass shot of Unicron's ship that lasts about a second.
It looks very similar. I mean, we were looking over the weekend at Floro Dairy designs. It's a pretty, like, his design for that kind of just straight up goes into the movie. It's
a cool
the
shot.
same.
It's a cool looking ship.
And there's like looking at, I think it was on Cybertron, the website, SEIB, that some of his drawings were on, and like he draws Autobot City like 3 times, which it was initially supposed to be called Fortress Maximus. And,
Right.
But
I would like to point out real quick, they do show a shot of Earth here, and I was commenting on how cool it looks because it's showing they've done some kind of animation secret with rotation.
Where it rotates, yeah.
But if you look, Florida looks absolutely insane in that shot.
Florida.
It seems to it has in the future. Florida has completely,
in the future past,
yes, it is completely fused with Cuba.
yeah.
This is the year 2005. Anything could have happened.
It's true.
Well, America's Wang has gotten bigger.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Galvatron was not standing at the front of the ship.
No.
I did a little research, though not mentioned in the movie. This ship has a name.
Oh,
No shit.
In the Rebirth Part 1, Galvatron refers to it as the Mothership, but according to a book that was published called Transformers: The Complete Arc, the ship is known as Revenge.
revenge!
I don't know exactly
Makes
what
sense.
revenge is being sought here.
What do you mean? What revenge on? He's revenge on Starscream. Revenge on anybody that ever talked shit about Megatron.
That guy who made fun of me in cyber third grade.
It's revenge. Yeah, it's revenge on anybody that's given him a problem as his previous incarnation.
Okay, all right, I'll go with it. Except did Unicron name the ship Revenge?
Well, if it's not in the movie or the show, where are they pulling that name?
So among its arsenal are torpedoes, multiple cannons, and moleculon missiles, which are ultimately what we'll see destroy 3/4 of Ultra Magnus' ship.
Cool. You know what else? You know what? I have a good name for the ship.
Okay.
Little Miss, Little Miss, Little Miss can't be wrong.
Well done.
So we're transitioning back to Earth. Do these shots look familiar? I think these are the exact same shots we saw maybe 2 or 3
and
minutes
Autobot
ago.
City, yeah.
Earth and Autobot City. When we saw Jazz and Cliffjumper send a message to Earth. So Ultra Magnus, who is presumably acting right after Bumblebee and Spike's message cutout, commands the Autobots to board the shuttles. This new menace is more dangerous than all the Decepticons put together. I don't know what I'm doing.
That is
there.
a great Robert Stack.
Good Robert Stack.
So, I guess he just knows that this new menace is more dangerous than all
My
the
thought is,
Decepticons
why
put
doesn't he
together?
assume it is something to do with the Decepticons?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I guess maybe he would think it wasn't because why would the Decepticons destroy their own worlds?
Well, because their guys were on those worlds.
True. That, yeah.
Well, so my other thing about that is, so we wouldn't just go and finish off the Decepticons.
Yes, I have that note
But
as
we
well.
will go fight an adversary that we believe is going to be way tougher than the Decepticons.
Yeah. Whenever the Decepticons were in full retreat, routed mode, and damaged, we don't want to chase them then. We got to rebuild this city in a day.
Once
Right.
again, the Autobots, heart of gold, brains of
Gold.
of gold as well. Brains of gold.
So
Pretty much.
he continues, somehow we must destroy it before it destroys, or before it devours Cybertron. Daniel's like, what about my dad? And he
We'll do
goes on to
everything we
explain
can.
everything we just heard. Yep. And I think it'd be funny if you just said to Daniel, I can't deal with that now.
I have later in some of my notes about how he's... we'll bring it up whenever it comes up. Anyway.
I still say they need to just turn that kid over to foster care.
I'm going to say it looks like Springer's been carving up here at the 37:07 minute mark here.
He's pretty buff, yeah. I mean, he is the swashbuckling Indiana Jones type.
I was thinking he looked like Indiana Jones, ate a lot of bread and drank a lot of beer.
So modern Indiana Jones, the Crystal Skull Jones.
Exactly. So, moving on.
Now, if you can pause it at like 37:12, or there's fine. We see someone who heretofore has not been introduced. Snarl is here.
That's right.
And he just shows up out of nowhere and quickly goes away. Like, they also show it at 37:40. We'll see him again.
Dodging some bullets.
Yeah, but he doesn't show up real. I mean, I think he's in some other shots in the rest of the movie, but he doesn't have any lines and randomly is not there with the other Dinobots.
Why not?
I want to say he does have a line, but I might be wrong. I might be wrong about that.
I think it's Slag.
On
that does.
Quintessa. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. So, yeah, we never see the Stegosaurus, but now, and maybe just a couple other times. How did he get there? He didn't show up with Grimlock.
So Snarl wasn't involved in the fight with
Devastator?
Devastator?
We don't see him, no.
No, they forgot about him. He's the forgotten Dinobot. Okay, Magnus just gives these orders.
Look at I'm glad you paused it here at 37:15. Hot Rod has a stupid look on his dumb face, just like, he's a mouth breather.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, you're right. He's not moving it at all.
No, he just stands there like that.
So he's given the order. We're going to go get in these ships. But Springer, who is my favorite pragmatist, asked the question, how the fuck are we going to fight this moon-munching motherfucker? And Ultra Magnus is like, well, maybe the Matrix can stop it. Hot Rod is like, you're right, it can. Cup's like, shut the fuck up, Hot Rod. You don't know shit.
Exactly.
Hot Rod's like, I just got
this feeling deep inside of me.
Yeah. He
So-
can't fight it. He can't fight that feeling
That's
anymore.
right. It's all songs all the time.
I feel like Ultra Magnus will find is just like me after I buy a new power tool at like Home Depot. I feel like I can use it for anything. Like, got a new door, gotta install a new door. I need to get my oscillating saw for that. Gotta install a light bulb. Gotta get my oscillating saw for that. It's like how this bit is going.
I think it's good. I'm picturing you writing this and just giggling. The guys are gonna love this.
At any rate, Ultra Magnus just can't wait to whip out the Matrix to do a job. Defeat Unicron, use the Matrix. Defend a relatively minor Decepticon attack, whip out the Matrix. He should have whipped out the Matrix to fix Autobot City.
Oh, fuck. He's so pleased with himself.
He is.
I just like how I didn't remember the joke. I had to
Well, you looked at us like you just solved the biggest clue of the whole movie. Like, it's true.
So anyway, Springer sees something going on. He's like, look, and Decepticons are already descending on Earth.
It's been
so
literally
quick.
less than a minute. It's been, well, I mean, even in movie time, we haven't had a cut, so it's been like 40 seconds.
it was so fast.
You're right. So
It was
Ultra Magnus
crazy
started
fast.
talking as soon as Bumblebee and Spike cut out. Mm-hmm. And so that means
Wait a minute.
Unicron must have eaten that planet in
Wait a minute.
I guess 42 seconds.
From a timing standpoint, that would mean that Galvatron showed up to the Autobot base before
He left
he
Cybertron.
left
It's
Oh
all
my
falling
God.
apart.
We quit, guys.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be no more episodes of the Autopod Decepticast. It's pointless.
That's what broke us.
All right,
It's
well,
the timing.
We'll finish this.
That's
minute.
where that's where our suspension,
It's a bridge too far.
That's where our suspension of disbelief broke down completely.
The drawings at this part I just noted were terrible.
Yeah, the art in this minute is not great. It's not very good, and even the coloring seems weird. Like it's like patchy in some spots.
Like this part right here where they're getting. I'm just gonna kind of go.
This is where they're like-
ghetto slow mo.
Yeah, it's like 3740 where they are firing on the Autobots. The Dinobots in particular look goofy as fuck. They're just like flailing all around. Fucking Snarl or Slag is on his back legs. And he's the Triceratops, and it just looks stupid.
And also we got Snarl, but there's no swoop at this
Yeah,
part.
that's right. They switch them out.
That's right. So Ultra Magnus is basically like to the shuttles. You get a kind of a cool shot of the sweeps coming up next, firing on everybody, and Cyclonus pulls up with Galvatron and says, Galvatron, I'm sorry.
He's
Excuse
flying
me."
in the
I
ship.
do like as he's in Cyclonus, the red glow that's in there. I think that's kind of a neat stylistic choice. It makes me think of like a submarine.
Like the tint on the windows.
I just assume
No.
it's red lighting inside.
No, I think it's a red window tint.
I think it's window tint.
I want to think it's like a sub where they have the red lights, which
Okay.
they do that to preserve your night vision, so you can read the instruments, and then if you have to go topside.
I understand what you're talking about. I just don't
Maybe
think
not
it's
everybody
correct.
does. I'm explaining it to the listeners.
Okay.
I'm maybe it does do that, but I also think those windows are tinted red.
More of an amber.
Well, all right.
So Galvatron says, Galvatron will crush you as Megatron crushed Prime.
As soon as I get out of this cockpit of this plane.
The thing I don't like about that is, I've got another bit, fellas.
Okay, let's go.
I've tried to rewrite the popular narrative on awkward moments in my life several times. For example, just last week, I'm at dinner with my wife at my wife's parents' house.
It's like a full-on bit. He's doing.
It's really just a story.
Okay.
There's all kinds of brothers, sisters, and cousins in the house. Some of them I don't know that well. And when I'm leaving, I'm going around the room kind of bro handshaking and like hugging the people I know. And I get to this female cousin that I don't know that well. I went in for a handshake, it was a really awkward handshake. And she and I both knew it was awkward, but we both didn't say anything about it. I tried to say some funny stuff to move on, but we didn't bring it up. A few days later, I'm talking to my wife and sister-in-law, and I'm trying to talk about that moment and reframe it in a way where I'm portraying that I went in for a hug and that cousin went for the handshake, but my sister-in-law shut me the fuck down. I forgot. She saw the whole thing happen, so I couldn't change the story.
Trying to cognitively reframe it to where you're not a total buffoon.
So she saw my clumsy beta move and busted me on it in front of everybody. And so I'm just trying to apply that as a lesson to Galvatron here. It's okay to lie about your failures. Just don't do it in front of people who know the
Who
truth.
saw it go down?
Otherwise, you just look delusional.
Well, that's chaos magic. If you you change the nature of your reality.
So everyone knows Prime won that battle. If I was the Autobots and I heard that line, I would just be like, oh, well, fuck, I guess we're just going to kick your fucking ass. And
I feel like it was best to draw because Prime died from it. I mean, speaking of handshakes, I did one of those that has stuck in my mind my entire life, but I was like 11 or 12, and somebody, I can't remember what the handshake was, but it was an adult who was doing a handshake, but for some reason I went in with my left hand even though he clearly had his right hand out. So if you can imagine trying to handshake with a right hand with your left, it was like somebody taking it was like this where like he was grabbing it like he was gonna kiss my back of my hand or something. It was ridiculous.
I did that to my uncle last week. Like I don't see him very often anymore, and we went to eat at City Butcher, and so everything had gone really, really well. Had good conversation, and he drops me off in the driveway, and so I go to shake his hand, and I don't know why, but it just doesn't work. So I like, it's
still right? Okay.
But it, like somehow like it just doesn't do it. So
sync.
I grab him with my left hand, and so I like shake with this is one hand with both of my hands like.
Yeah, buddy. We're up in the ante on the handshake.
It's like you're trying to have a cool old mob boss handshake.
Yeah, with my uncle though, I always seem to like there's always just one thing that doesn't go quite.
It never can be just fine. Everything's got to be a problem.
It's not really a problem, but it's just a sense of awkwardness.
Mm-hmm. We need to animate an awkward Transformers handshake somehow.
All right,
our next guest.
I'll do that tonight.
Ryan's on it. Mm-hmm. So Ultra Magnus does have a reasonable comeback in saying that you'll die trying.
I do love that comeback. And I guess Cyclonus must have like a PA, a loudspeaker, because Galvatron's just kind of talking to himself, but Ultra Magnus hears him.
Yeah, how are they having this dialogue at all? Maybe they're all patched in on a radio system that's just
I guess
internal. Like
they're all hearing it through the speakers from the gaffer, the boom. The
mic operator.
The mic operator.
Uh-huh.
Back to that old chestnut.
Yeah,
that went well. Keep going back to that well. So I do, and then Ultra Magnus' comeback's pretty good. And then when he shoots him through Cyclonus, this is the thing. Like every time Galvatron gets any minor, like somebody stands up to him or anything, he's just instantly enraged that anyone would bother to like fight back because he just says Autobot scrap and is shaking his fist like he's
so mad.
Upset that he shot him.
He is upset.
So then Cyclonus at that point says, "You want me to gut Ultra Magnus?" As Scourge pulls up with his head popped out of the top of the vehicle.
I fucking hate that.
And
you don't like the head popping out?
I hate it. They do that. There's another, and I was watching about Starscream's Ghost, and I found the video where that you see like his statue has been crumbled. But there's in that scene, Octane is in truck mode, but his head's popping up out of his cab. I fucking hate that.
Well, yeah,
it's so goofy.
He's too scared to complete his transformation.
Well, I'm surprised that you don't see more of that more often. And like the Transformers are kind of like half transformed, so that they'll just transform a little bit to roll around and stuff, but their head's still showing.
Well, in the
Prime could have
just flipped that head over.
He can totally stick his head out of his roll around.
Well, and in some of those big looker books that we talked about, Caleb, the weird drawings, like.
I found out about that illustrator, and I don't have his name off the top of my head, but he's actually a very accomplished.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's just so different. But then also
it's watercolor.
The weird thing is in one of the stories where they're in an auto show, the Autobots have eyes looking out of their headlights.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I don't like that kind of stuff.
Well, I don't get it away from me.
I mean, based on some of the the illustration that I saw in that guy's book, he isn't quite in grasp of the Transformers.
That seems pretty clear.
Right.
But in a weird way, I like seeing that loss of translation of it.
I like them in and of themselves. They're just bizarre in the world of Transformers.
Yeah.
I just think they look surreal. You know?
They
I
are.
think it's the watercolors that do it.
Yeah, and then they have to go in, somebody came in after him and stamped in all the Autobot
Decepticon
symbols.
It's all weird.
Because he didn't do
If I was that guy, I'd be pissed about that.
There are some where he does have it painted, but they stamped over it again.
So lame. That brings us to the end of this minute, guys.
Oh, far out.
So I do have a voice actor. And it could be controversial because that last scene about gutting Ultra Magnus, some would say it makes more sense that Cyclonus said it, because why would Cyclonus, or it makes more sense that, I'm sorry, the other guy, Scourge says it, because why would Cyclonus say it? Galvatron is piloting him, so he's kind of in control of whatever Cyclonus does.
But Scourge does say it.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't? Mm-mm. Cyclonus says
First
that?
of all, the voice is different. I listened back and forth between what we know is definitely a Scourge line earlier and this line. It's very different voices. But I see why it looks like that because of the way that the sweeps pull up against him and the fact that his head's out. He might as well just be like, want me to do that? It makes a lot more sense that he does do it. But and also it's a sneak peek of my script deviation. So that line is attributed to Cyclonus in the script as well.
Huh.
So with all that lets us talk about Roger C. Carmel, who voiced Cyclonus in the movie. And he is actually a very delightful looking fellow. Let me pull up a quick...
He says he is. This is
a picture of him real quick.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign.
Let's see here. Some pictures. Looks like
I love that mustache.
He kind of looks like Caleb's dad.
Oh, I know that guy. Yeah, he was in this original Star Trek.
Yeah, he
episode.
was. He was a... Yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. You already know all about him. American
What's his name,
actor.
Mud?
Named for his grandfather. His grandfather carved the horses for the carousels at Central Park, by the way.
No shit.
So in the 60s, a frequent recurring character on primetime shows, Colonel Gum on Green Hornet, which is a crossover. Misha the Bear on Hawaii Five-0.
Man, I want a mustache like that.
It's great.
It's pretty
really
solid.
good.
He's best known for playing spacefaring conman Harry Mudd on the original Star Trek series and its 1970s animated counterpart. He was one of the few actors other than the Enterprise crew members to appear in multiple episodes of the show as the same character.
Which I believe Rainn Wilson is portraying him in the new Star Trek Discovery.
Is that right?
He's portraying that character, I think. That's right.
It's cool.
I can't get it because I don't have TV or cable, and it's only can get it on CBS streaming. So
I think his character was very accessible to the viewing audience because it was kind of like it was unexpected to see a guy like that. You could he was kind of a fish out of water in a sense, but at the same time, like he was very comfortable in his own skin, his character.
yeah.
And
I mean, he's very enjoyable in every episode.
and I think also he was good. He was just a good fit for the counterculture.
Very avuncular. Kind of looks a little bit like
Is this
Leonard
him from
Lake.
that? So he was also on Dick Van Dyke, Patty Duke, Hogan's Heroes, The Munsters, All in the Family, Heart to Heart, Three's Company. Later in his career, he discovered voice acting. So he was the original actor of Smokey the Bear. He was on DuckTales, Gummy Bears, but mostly 32 episodes of Transformers. Cyclonus, Bruticus, Minosaur, Motormaster, Quintesson number 2. Post-movie, if they ever did a Unicron voice, he was the guy that did it. A handful of other one-off characters. And, he's circling round and round on that carousel in the sky.
Damn it.
Passed away in 1986.
Oh God!
And Jack Angel took his place. Actually, I don't have it noted here, so I might have this story a little bit wrong.
Wait a minute. Wait. He died in '86.
Yeah.
So
he basically did season 3, but towards the end of season 3, or maybe in those rebirth episodes that are kind of season 4, Jack Angel did the voice of
I was
Cyclonus
getting really
on
excited. This guy's seems really cool. I want to see if we can contact
So I
him.
read that he actually was supposed to be on Star Trek The Next Generation. They'd written a script where his character was going to be in it. He was in frozen suspended animation, and they were going to bring him back, and somehow or another his character was going to die heroically, gave his life to save everybody else's life. But he died before that was produced.
They kind of did an episode like that with Scotty,
Yeah.
where he was in the pattern buffer of the transporter.
That's right. And then Bones was in the very first.
Yeah, he was.
But he had just managed to live.
He was like 115 or something.
Cranky as ever.
Yeah.
So that is our voice actor. We won't have one for a little bit.
Okay.
Shit.
Fucking A.
It's always interesting on these voice actors just to see how much they cross over with all these other shows and all this other stuff.
It's a
they
really
do.
good inside view into the Hollywood
machine.
Machine. Yeah, it's really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I really
It's an
like it.
ever-transforming machine.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Sure.
Y'all know what it's time for, don't you?
What?
I do. It's time for script.
I don't know why that's so funny.
Is that Ryan in my cold chamber?
That's right.
He'll just throw in script deviations wherever. I don't even have to say
I
it.
know, but I'm just trying to
I
get your attention so I can
kind of
stop.
have to keep that in now.
I just wanted to hear you do it.
It could be an outtake. Something
yeah,
at the
that's
end.
true.
So I don't have any deviations. Basically, what happens on screen
Good,
is what
let's
happens
wrap
on my
this
page. Ryan, what you got?
Well, in the last minute, it's very similar. Ingester consumes the moon, and then Galvatron is incensed about it, and then Unicron tortures him, and he says, "I will obey," and then he takes the entire force off to battle. So in this minute, Ultra Magnus in Autobot City, he's studying the scanner device as Springer, Cup, and Hot Rod look on amid general gathering of Autobots. So basically exactly the same thing, and he says, "The third moon of Cybertron has vanished," which I went back and looked in the script. That's the munitions factory. It's Jazz and Cliffjumper. There's no Spike and Bumblebee.
Okay.
So it's just they were on Moon. Moonbase 1 in the movie is the Moon 3 in this script.
Okay.
Reaction, ad-lib through the crowd of disbelief. I don't know how you can ad-lib in a cartoon. But then Cup steps forward and calls to Ultra Magnus, "Was it the work of the Decepticons?" "I don't know." Looks off, points. "This may be the answer." And all look off where a small cloud of dust in the distance over the far line of mountains suddenly moves closer, closer, closer until it's visible as a fast-traveling Autobot whose form is still not quite discernible, moving fast down from the heights to the plains area and into Autobot City, where Ultra Magnus and others are assembled.
Who is it?
Who could it be? A special messenger from our forward observation post. Another angle on the special messenger, who is Blur. This is the first appearance in the script of Blur.
Oh, so Blur comes in here.
Special messenger Blur whips into the shot and up to Ultra Magnus. His motion is so fast that it is a trailing image to catch up with when he stops. He speaks extremely rapidly. "Greetings, Ultra Magnus. I bring word of the sky. Scan findings." I can't do this. "Greetings, Ultra Magnus. I find word of the sky. Scan findings regarding the ingestion and absorption of the third moon of Cybertron." I kind of like this introduction, but it's like really, it's a lot. Like,
Yeah,
to introduce kind of late.
Yeah, it'd be overwhelming.
And then Blur says the moon was practically swallowed by the gigantic planet of unknown origin and moved into Cybertron orbit with the last astrodecimal minute. I hate that shit.
You don't like the what do they call that
They're
stuff?
cute.
The
I don't
conversion,
mind them that
the
much.
time
It's
conversion.
just in the script
Yeah,
they're
but-
really awkward, and they change it a little bit in the movie, which is fine. So Springer says, "Were there any survivors? Unknown, but since ingestion of the moon, large invasion forces of Decepticons has left for Earth." Hot Rod says, "An invasion force? We've got to man battle stations." And Blur says, "No time. Estimated arrival is now." We cut to the sky, where Galvatron and an enormous invasion force is descending from Cybertron, joined by a land force of other Decepticons, Insecticons et al., which have been on Earth this whole time.
Well, shit.
Yeah, so the invading force are so vast that they cast a shadow over the entire landscape. The noise of their you could never animate this. Like the noise of their arrival, creating an ominous buzz as we close on Galvatron, who flies into camera, his eyes gleaming malevolently. So they're even more heavily outnumbered now than they were before. On Autobots, pan for reactions. As Decepticons descend and approach and shadows darken the scene and race over the upturned faces of the Autobot defenders, Daniel, R.C., Springer et al. Springer says, "I don't think this is going to be my favorite day," which is a weird line. Not up to his usual standard.
Isn't it the same day as the other fight that they just
I don't
had?
think this
I think
is
already
going
it's been
to
a
be
pretty
my
bad day.
Well, I can tell you.
Yeah, so that's kind of...
That makes this today is certainly not going to be my favorite.
It jumps
day.
around a little because this is so expansive. Like, there's one where there's a lot in there. But, so that's where I'm going to end for that minute.
Ice Cube shows up.
Damn
Oh,
right,
it will be a good day.
This is damn right, it was a good day.
Today is not going to be my favorite day.
Is that your Ice Cube?
Yes.
All right, maybe we should open the door and let in the. We can.
I am the ghost of the iconic moment.
You know.
Who wants to go first?
Go ahead.
Aaron, you go first.
No, wait. I will go first.
Okay. It's controversial.
My iconic moment is seeing that what is it, Scourge with his head showing as he's flying. It's pretty iconic.
I hate that.
I know, but
So
it's,
much.
Yeah.
So, to me, this is the first incarnation of what essentially becomes a trope in the Transformers world, which is Galvatron and his new Death Squad. He's just got his new entourage. You don't really see... everybody else is in the background from here going forward. It's just those
That's
three
true.
guys and the sweeps.
And that's kind of, a shame. I feel like just because the sweeps are so... they're all the same.
They're generic.
Yeah. It's not,
And
I
they're
like seeing the different...
They're intentionally generic.
I know. I just like the different Decepticons with different personalities.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, to speak to that, you had generic sort of in the form of Skywarp and Thundercracker and
At least they were different
Reflector
colors.
guy and
Sure,
then the
but-
Insecticons.
Yeah, but I mean, God, they were part of a crew. I mean, you really don't get, like, Shockwave. Is he coming back?
He's in the movie at the very end.
Okay, that's good.
I think he technically dies.
I don't
Really?
know. I don't know. It's not shown. But I guess my iconic moment was just I really like Ultra Magnus's "You'll die trying, just like Megatron."
It's a good line.
It's a good line.
From now on, you're doing the Ultra Magnus impressions.
All right, I'll do all the Ultra Magnus impressions. Hi, this is how he sounded.
What?
Are you,
What are you talking about?
Are you making fun of my Ultra Magnus impression?
That's kind of weird. This is all very
This
strange.
is a very fun voice to do, kind of.
I don't care who you're trying to impersonate.
That would get old real fast. It's sort of like
Do that voice all next episode.
Oh, that would be great. It's sort of like that voice gets really annoying quickly. It's sort of like when I do my Southern gentleman, I'm just a simple country lawyer who likes to have a mint julep, but this do seem like there's something strange. That's fun to do, and the more I do it, the more I want to do it, and it gets annoying.
Yeah.
Just to others. Not to
I am
yourself.
going to have to take that away from you.
I'm sorry.
What is it?
It's pull tab. He's been playing with it the whole episode.
Gotcha.
I didn't realize that it was making that much ruckus.
It's fine. It's not that noticeable.
I'm done.
Next time on the Autopod Decepticast.
Next time, we will revisit some of that classic 1980s sexism, but this time with a twist.
Ooh.
And we see the Dinobots be obstinate for no good fucking
No
reason.
goddamn reason.
Don't forget our listener appreciation event between now and December 25th. Rate, review us on iTunes, send us a little note with your mailing address, either via email or a direct message on Twitter. We, in what we in the biz call a quid pro quo, we will send you a little something nice via the mail. For now, it's a secret something. I hope that fact still keeps this compelling enough for you to participate.
Each one unique and complete on its own.
We'll see about that.
All right.
International friends, it's very important that you let us know, as we spoke earlier, as it's difficult for us to track international reviews on iTunes. Speaking of which, iTunes, in addition to Stitcher, Google Play, and TuneIn, are the best places to listen to our show. Follow us on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all of them at Autopod Decepticast. Visit our web presence at autopoddecepticast.com. Don't forget to
because
rate
I always put up anything that we talk about in the show that I can find, like a YouTube clip or an image of. I throw it up there on the website, so check that out.
I think we'll put up a picture of Mr. Carmel's mustache.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Like and subscribe. Just go ahead now. Just go ahead now.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
There's so many stories that emanate from that bat throwing things over that
Oh yeah.
back fence.
Yeah. I set that field on fire.
I was there.
Yep.
I showed up in time to see Ryan run out of the down the stairs with a bat. He had on a robe and a pot.
So wait, how did you set this on fire?
I had some
he
old
was
fireworks, and I was shooting them, and I stopped. It had been like 10 minutes, and I stopped shooting them, and I was drawing.
in the driest of summer
Yeah, it's like
days?
August.
Yeah. Real. It was real smart.
So he
move.
caught.
And I look up, and it's just I see fire out there, and so I run down with a tiny
He's
pot
like hitting
full of water.
he's like hitting the perimeter of this fire with a pot, and that's not working. And I say, we need like a blanket or something. And you go and we get a blanket.
We got and also the rubber mat out of your truck bed.
Oh yeah, we got that rubber mat, and we were hitting it, and we put it out, and we ran back inside in time to get back in the apartment and watch the fire department show up.
Yeah, they slowly rolled up, and it was probably 20 feet in diameter.
It was a big fire.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing the both of you out there.
Well,
panicking.
I wasn't panicking.
Swinging wildly.
I was helping, but I thought it was amusing. But he ran down the stairs when I literally was walking up towards your apartment. He was walking down the stairs, and he was like I don't know.
Fire!
He's got a pan, like a pan.
Like a little one? Like
It was just a pot,
like a
like a
frying
sauce
pan?
Like a sauce pot, like a
Yeah.
saucepan.
And that pan
It's
was
like
never the
wonk,
same.
wonk, wonk.
The pot was never the same.